All right, welcome to Cyber Tech and Risk Talk. And today we are very pleased to have Nir from CyberArk to join us. Nir, welcome.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. So Nir, can you quickly talk a little bit about what you do at CyberArk?
Oh, sure, yeah. I joined CyberArk over 20 years ago as part of the core team when we just started. Obviously, throughout the 20 years, I took many different positions. Started as a developer, managed part of the development as a CTO for several years. And I think that maybe my biggest experience with CyberArk was managing our internal IT and security team as a CIO. So IT is very important, right? But security was really front and center for everything that we did as an information security company, right? Having this target on your back. So that was really interesting, and I did that for about 7 years. What I'm doing today is kind of taking that experience from managing our own security and being customer facing, helping our customers, kind of an advisory CISO, being a resource for them. Any question about security, about privileged account security, how to approach that, how to implement it, and so on.
Wow. And your title right now is a Chief
Security Strategist, yes.
Wow, that's cool. That's a very cool title. All right, and today, the event we are having right now is called PAM, right? So the Privileged Access Management. Yeah. CyberArk obviously is a leader in this field. Any kind of comments on this field? Any insights from there?
Yeah, definitely. I think that for me, what is really exciting about privileged account security or privileged account management is that it is really at that intersection of identity management, but also cybersecurity, right? At the end of the day, this is what hackers are doing, right? The way that hackers penetrate into our network, maybe not the initial penetration, but later on, lateral movement, privilege escalation, it is de facto done by abuse of privileges, by abuse of privileged accounts. So, again, what's exciting to me is that by putting the right management, the right controls, the right processes around these extremely important accounts, extremely important people that use these accounts, and automated processes that also have very privileged access, this has direct effect, positive effect, obviously, on the security posture of any organization. Okay,
yeah, very important. As far as I know, there's a lot of industry statistics saying like 80% of hacking incidents, there's some privilege related, right?
Yeah, I mean, the numbers I see from the Mandiant report, the Verizon Business Report, put it in high 90s, 95 or 98 or 100.
Right.
You know, at this point, it doesn't really matter. This is just the kind of the playbook of the hackers.
So, which makes a PAM as a, I think, very critical piece in the cybersecurity overall structure, the framework.
Correct, and we see that in various frameworks, various top 20 lists, and so on. One of my favorite ones is the CIS, the Center for Information Security top 20 list.
Right.
Privileged account management used to be number 12 on the list there just about 3 years ago. It made it to number 5, and now it's number 4 on the list.
Oh, okay.
And when you look, they actually segment, I want to say, the first 6 or 7 controls as basic. I like to call them basic hygiene, because it's like, I don't know, washing your hands and brushing your teeth. You must do that. Yeah. And when you look at that list, you look at these things there. I briefly go over like 1 to 3. Know what hardware is on your network and manage that. Number 2, know what software is on your network and manage that. Obviously, without that, I mean, you cannot have any security. Number 3, have a vulnerability management program. Well, you have to identify the gaps and you have to solve them in a programmized way, right?
Right.
Number 4 is privileged account management. So again, all of these are really basic controls, really basic disciplines that every security organization must have.
That's exactly true. Because you have to know what do you have first, and also to cover the basics. Otherwise, all the things on top of that is not solid.
Right.
Okay, cool. And as you also mentioned, you've been in CyberArk for many years, and you moved from developer to CIO, CTO, to security. There must be a lot of stories. Are they most memorable moment or aha moment you have?
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of them, obviously, but I do want to talk about two presentations that I was privileged enough to listen to that were made by cyber customers,
okay.
And both were given by security managers in these respective organizations. The first one was a large American organization that suffered a devastating breach. At the time, they were a prospective customer of ours, and the breach was so bad that they had to rebuild their network from scratch. They said that we cannot trust anything. We have to start from scratch and start by, first of all, building that trust from the bottom up. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that they did was to put privileged account security. That's where they called us in. So on one hand, that was a very sombering moment to see the devastation that this breach caused. But on the other hand, they were extremely quick. Obviously, they needed to get their business up and running again, mm-hmm. But it also showed us that privileged account security can be implemented correctly, while under duress, yes, but in a very quick amount of time.
Okay.
The second one was yet another security professional from actually a Canadian organization that recognized the importance of privileged account security and built a program around that with a multi-year plan, very successful program at the end of the day. The lesson for me there was the focus that they put on organizational change management. Mm-hmm. Getting the various people in the organization that have to deal with privileged account security and sometimes have to change the way that they work in privileged account security, getting them on board, explaining to them what we're doing, why we're doing that. And that organizational change management that was executed on, well, obviously in a great way by that organization, really helped the success of the program.
Wonderful. That's a really good insight for those two stories, also related to Canada.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And one is related to Canadian. Yeah, cool. All right, so for today, we have a lot of people coming from cyber tech and risk. So people, some of them were more focused on technology side, some people more focused on risk side, but of course, a lot of people are in the cybersecurity field. Right. So any tip or insights for those members?
Yeah, obviously there are a lot, right? I think that when you approach a privileged account security, I want to say a project, but a program is the right way to
it's a big,
put it. Right, yes. So it's first of all you need to recognize what you're doing here. You need to set the priorities correctly. Right. You need to resource that correctly. To the size of your organization, you need to get maybe help from partners, advisories, and so on. It is hard to do it yourself. Second thing is, I think it's extremely important to take a risk-based approach to privileged account security. Okay. I see too many organizations that start on that journey without really planning that correctly, or that the approach that they're taking is not risk-based, which causes them to take some decisions such as, I will vault all of my passwords and then I will start managing all of my passwords and so on and so forth, right? This is kind of a recipe for failure because you will never finish phase one. You will never vault all of your passwords. You will never find all of your passwords, right? I believe that where I see success is when you take a more vertical approach, a more risk-based approach, right? What do I want to do first? And is there something that I can do? And whether it's an application, whether these are your domain controllers, where do you have the most risk that you can also mitigate in a reasonable amount of time first, right? So there is the investment and there are the results. So yeah, you may have something that will take you 2 years to do. Don't start with that. Identify where you have risk that you can mitigate quickly. Do that. show results, learn from that,
right.
show results to management, show results to your team from a security perspective, bring in the red team after phase 1, see if there is an improvement, whether they got to your domain controller within 3 minutes or was there an improvement there. Mm-hmm. So this risk-based approach is really key to having, and the plan and the program are really key to have a successful and more secure implementation at the end of the day.
Wonderful. I think you mentioned a very important element, the risk-driven security framework, mm-hmm. and also you touched the project management, program management. So you have to kind of set up a priority, identify the critical piece first, and also using the phase approach, right? So to set up the quick win or something to give the report, but it's a long-term project. It's not like a one-time quickly you can get something done.
Yeah, you can get a lot of things done quickly, yeah. within the various, let's call it, verticals that you look at.
Okay, right.
So if you take that vertical risk-based approach, and I take my most sensitive application, for example,
right, yeah.
and I deal with the application code, and mm-hmm. I deal with the application passwords, and I deal with the CI/CD processes and the mm-hmm. developers, A to Z, but in a vertical way, right? I never said here, hey, let's identify all the passwords right. that I have and all the admins that I have and right. do it horizontally. You will get to everything eventually, right. But if you're taking a risk-based approach, then you're more guaranteed to show results and meaningful results and the right type of results and quicker.
That's extremely important. Rather than, although it sounds like I need to get all the password identity, but the nature of those accounts are totally different.
Correct.
But like what you said is, if we can focus on certain domains or like areas, but take the risk approach, for example, focus on application first, yeah. right? That would be much easier than you take off all kinds of mixed nature of identity.
100%, and I think that a lot of organizations have opportunities in this field today as right. part of. Well, I have to throw digital transformation in here, right? Yeah. But as organizations go through that and look at their portfolio and look at what they're doing, and sometimes even modernizing some of these applications and some of these platforms, right. this is really the best time to look at these buildings that we were building for the last 50 years, yes. right? And sometimes the foundations are a little bit shaky or even rotten, right? So hey, we have a real opportunity here to do some things better. Cloud has a lot to do with that, right? So these transitions are actually very important for security, and we can really capitalize on that and secure our organizations better. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Nir.
Thank you, Brian.